The doors of the throne hall slammed shut behind me before I even understood why I had been dragged there. Guards stood on every side, their weapons raised, their eyes locked on me like I was already guilty of something. My hands were still cuffed. My uniform was torn from the fight outside the palace gates, the one where 3 men had tried to stop me from reaching this room at all. My heart was still pounding from that fight, and now I stood in front of a throne that belonged to a woman I had not seen in 19 years. She raised one hand, and the guards stepped back at once. Nobody argued with that hand. Nobody in this empire argued with her at all. Empress Sareth Vishari looked down at me from her throne, and for a moment, the entire hall went silent enough that I could hear my own breath. I did not know why I had been summoned with an armed escort. I did not know why 3 assassins had been waiting for me on the road leading to the palace. All I knew was that a courier ship had appeared above my house 2 days earlier, carrying a message with her seal on it, and now here I was, bleeding, cuffed, and standing before an empress who ruled 11 systems and controlled the lives of 4 trillion people. "Release him," she said. The cuffs opened. My wrists ached as the guards stepped away. "You knew someone would try to kill me on the way here," I said. My voice came out rougher than I wanted. "I suspected it," she said. "That is why I sent my own soldiers ahead of you. If they had not been there, you would already be dead." "Who wants me dead?" "The same people who do not want you standing in this hall right now." She stepped down from the dais, and every noble in the room turned pale, because an empress does not walk toward a common man in front of her own court. There are people in my empire who believe a promise made 20 years ago should have died with my childhood. They are wrong. I remembered the promise the moment she said it, even though I had spent almost 2 decades trying to forget it. I had been a young soldier pulling children out of a collapsing building on a burning world, and one of those children had gripped my jacket and refused to let go until I said something big enough to calm her down. I told her that if she ever became empress, I would marry her. It was a foolish thing to say to a frightened 7-year-old. I never expected the words to survive the night, let alone survive her rise to the throne. "You remember," she said, watching my face. "I remember," I answered. "I never thought you would." "I have an implanted memory system," she said. "Every word from that night has stayed with me, every promise, every syllable." Before I could respond, the far doors burst open, and a soldier ran in, breathless, his armor scorched at the shoulder. "Empress, the Northern Fleet has broken formation. 6 ships are moving toward the capital without authorization." The calm in the room shattered instantly. Ministers stood up from their seats, panic spreading across their faces. Sareth turned toward the soldier with a stillness that somehow felt more dangerous than shouting. "Whose command are they under?" "General Corin Asheville, my empress. He claims the throne is unfit to rule because of outside influence." The soldier's eyes flicked toward me for half a second, and I understood immediately that I was the outside influence he meant. "Get the Defense Council to the war room," Sareth said, "and get him a working communicator. He is coming with me." "Me?" I asked. "I am not a soldier anymore." "Tonight, you are whatever I need you to be," she said, and there was no room for argument in her tone. We moved fast through corridors lit by flickering emergency lights, past soldiers bracing shield generators against the walls, past officers shouting coordinates into handheld devices. The palace, which minutes earlier had looked like a place of perfect order, now felt like a structure holding its breath before a storm. In the war room, a massive holographic display showed 6 warships breaking away from the Northern Fleet formation, their engines glowing bright as they turned toward the capital. "General Asheville believes I am weak because I never married into one of the great houses," Sareth said, studying the display. "He believes a throne without alliance is a throne without protection. He has been waiting for a reason to move against me since the day I was crowned." "And I just gave him one," I said. "You gave him an excuse. He would have found another eventually." She turned to her defense minister, a tall woman with sharp eyes named Freya Doran. Status of our orbital defense grid. Online, but not strong enough to stop 6 warships if they commit to an attack, Freya answered. We have maybe 20 minutes before they are within striking range. Then we do not let them commit. Sareth turned to me. You once talked a mob of frightened survivors into walking through fire because they trusted your voice more than their fear. I need that voice again. You want me to talk to a general who is bringing warships to overthrow you. I want you to remind him what he is fighting for is not what he thinks he is fighting for. They patched me into a direct channel, my voice carried across space to the bridge of General Asheville's flagship. For a moment there was only static, then a deep, controlled voice answered. This is the man from the fire, Asheville said, and I could hear something almost like amusement in his tone. The Empress sent a rescue worker to negotiate with warships. Interesting. I am not here to negotiate, I said. I am here to ask you one question. Do you actually believe she is unfit, or are you afraid that a throne built on loyalty instead of political marriage makes your own position less important? There was a long pause. You do not know anything about this empire, he finally said. I know that 19 years ago, she was a child crying under a collapsed ceiling, while men who were supposed to protect her were already dead in the hallway outside, I said. I know she survived that night, and she has survived every attempt since to control her through fear or marriage or blackmail. If you attack this capital, you will prove to every citizen watching that you never believed in an empire that protects its people. You will prove you only believe in an empire that protects men like you. The silence stretched so long that Freya reached for the console, ready to cut the channel and prepare for combat. Stand down your ships, Sareth said, stepping beside me, her voice carrying clearly across the same channel. Land at the western docks. I will meet you myself unarmed, and we will speak as 2 people who both want this empire to survive. But if a single weapon fires on this capital tonight, I promise you there will be no negotiation afterward. Another pause, longer this time. Then the 6 ships on the holographic display slowed, turned, and began descending toward the coordinates she had given. The room let out a breath it had been holding for what felt like hours. That was reckless, Freya said quietly, meeting him unarmed. He respects courage more than titles, Sareth said. He always has. We walked to the western docks together, guards trailing at a distance, the night air sharp and cold against my skin. General Asheville stepped off his flagship alone, his uniform pristine despite the chaos of the last hour, his expression unreadable. He looked at Sareth, then at me, then back at her. You brought the fire rescuer to stop a rebellion, he said. Not soldiers, not politicians, him. I brought someone who has never once lied to me, she said, which is more than I can say for most of my court. Asheville studied me for a long moment, then gave a slow nod, the kind of nod that carries the weight of a decision made after years of doubt. I will withdraw my fleet, he said. But understand this, Empress. The nobles who whispered doubts into my ear tonight will whisper them again tomorrow. You have bought yourself time, not peace. Time is enough for tonight, she said. He turned and walked back toward his ship without another word. And slowly, the tension in the docks began to fade, replaced by the quiet exhaustion that follows a crisis narrowly avoided. Sareth turned to me, once the guards had moved out of hearing range. You did not have to speak to him the way you did, she said. You could have refused. I could have, I agreed. But I made you a promise once when you were too small to understand what it meant to hold someone to their word. Tonight, I finally understood what it means to keep one. She studied me the way she had studied Asheville, searching for something honest beneath the surface. Then keep it, she said quietly. Not because of a war room or a fleet or a court full of people who think they know what is best for this empire. Keep it because you choose to. The docks were quiet now, the ships gone, the emergency lights finally settling into a steady, calm glow. For the first time since I had arrived in cuffs and torn fabric, I felt the fear in my chest ease into something else entirely. "I choose to," I said. And for the first time that night, Empress Sareth Veshari allowed herself to smile, not as a ruler holding an empire together by will alone, but as the same girl who had once refused to let go of my jacket in the middle of a burning building, finally certain that some promises are worth every risk it takes to keep them.